This NFL Picks Week 3 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
What's up, guys? This is Carson Steele. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Chow.
Bringing
What?
the chow. I like that.
All right, I told you I was going to fuck around this season, and I noticed that it's trendy and popular for everyone to be wearing Italian flags. Have we even confirmed that Jason Kelsey's Italian?
Oh wow! So you're already going after Jason Kelsey, stealing your heritage.
I like Jason Kelsey.
Okay.
I think he is. He's joining a team that's gonna maybe set him up for failure. I like Scott Van Pelt, but rest of the desk leaves a little to be desired. He doesn't fit in. First of all, his casual vibe. They're trying to do a
Who's
Pat
the
McAfee
serious
thing.
guy? I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, Ryan Clark.
Ryan, and he looked like what was his outfit? I mean, everyone was talking about Jason Kelsey's. Clearly, it was a sketch. They had like a big Dom thing on Monday Night Football, and then Ryan Clark looks like he's straight out of the Revolutionary War with his like very tight fitting
North Korea chic.
Yeah, I don't know.
mean,
I don't understand.
Trying to impress the leader.
I don't understand fashion at all. Very interesting choice for Ryan Clark.
But I just think Kelsey's a smart guy. Maybe we shouldn't use him, dress him up, and gallivant him around. Representing again, it's okay to make fun of the Italian people. If he showed
my
up,
culture is not your costume, Ryan. That's the catchphrase.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of other things he could have shown up in with people would have might have had a problem with it. And pretty, Kelsey shows up with a sombrero. People might have a problem with that. What about a yarmulke?
Big Juan?
Throwing
maybe Big Juan is
Big Juan.
Yeah, instead of Big Don, Big Juan.
Oh, CJ's got a new character to figure out. You can use the chow too. I think it works.
Ryan, you played the Carson Steele drop to get the show started.
God, yes.
I mean, never wish injury on anyone unless they're holding our boy back, Carson Steele. Interesting. Carson Steele did fumble, unfortunately. Not awesome, but then had a huge 4th down pickup for the Chiefs, and now. Like he was the face of waiver wire pickups, right? Like everyone, make sure Carson Steele, you add him onto your roster. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on 30% Carson Steele in best ball. We were drafting Carson Steele. He had no ADP, Ryan. We were so ahead of the market, and now it's annoying because now I have a good feeling about him scoring a touchdown this week, but the price is going to be all the way down because everyone knows it's coming.
I know we needed the injury to happen in like the first quarter.
Well,
of the game.
and he got 2 carries inside the 5 against the Bengals. Couldn't get it in. I think he's going to get a ton of goal line work.
I will say, and we'll get to this when we talk about the game, but I'm kind of shocked at how many people are suggesting that Pacheco is this all-world running back, and without Pacheco,
no, come on.
The team is going to drastically change.
Yeah, if the Chiefs did okay without Tyreek Hill, you're damn sure they can figure it out.
Have you not watched a single Andy Reid team over the last 2 decades?
It's like it's like Kyle Shanahan's team. They can just plug and play. Is Christian McCaffrey good? Yeah, sure, but Jordan Mason was fine.
Did they miss him?
No, because I don't think that's why they lost. I think it was the Brian Flores defense against Brock Purdy. He seems to have that figured out. I did see in the chat, this is the week when we win it all back. Love that attitude. Yeah, it was a rough week, I think, for everyone. The public's been getting their ass kicked. That's why we say FTP, fade the public. Not an amazing week for me, at least. I got the Bucks money line, which was a prayer to bail me out of some other bad picks, but hanging around.
But I did see no one's perfect in Circa Million.
No,
the
9
consensus,
and 1's the best.
The consensus is 0-9-1. That's incredible.
Yeah, Ryan, we've been doing this. I can't remember.
It could be 1-9, but I could have sworn I saw 0-9-1.
I don't remember a time where 1 week was 0-5, let alone 1-4 with the consensus plays. So it's the sharps as well. I think to some degree have also been getting their ass kicked. I don't know anyone and I'm not. It's been a tough couple weeks in the NFL. I mean, if you had the Derek Carr MVP ticket, you're feeling pretty good. Although I'm skeptical of that. There's some who 2-0 are you the most skeptical of, Ryan?
Well, I think the better question is who at 2-0 aren't you skeptical of?
I mean, the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
It's as cliche and dumb as it sounds. The Chiefs are 2-0, but they're
Bills?
the Chiefs. The Bills, yeah, they're another one. I'm not shocked. They're
Chargers.
2-0. No, I don't think so because both situations, both games. Steelers, no, not at all. Steelers have their home. Steelers are 2-0. They haven't had a home game. Steelers are 2-0, Ryan, and they've only scored one offensive touchdown.
Texans, who by the way are 2 games up on their entire division.
Yeah, that is crazy. No, Texans aren't surprising.
Seahawks.
A little, but then you look at who they played, and it's not shocking. I will say Geno looked pretty good.
Last game was impressive.
Yeah,
JSN impressive.
It does seem like the way you beat the Patriots is just don't throw Christian Gonzalez's way, and you're going to have some opportunities.
Vikings,
surprising. Yeah,
surprising because they look good in the numbers. Yeah, all types of numbers, and then the Saints and Bucks, which
Bucks not surprising. Saints definitely a surprise.
If you look at who the Saints,
because their margin too.
You look at the fact that they were a touchdown dog.
Yeah,
and just the fact that they, by eye test, by point differential, whatever metric you want to use. If you're doing power rankings and the Saints aren't at least the top team in the NFC, I think you're probably not doing it correctly, or you're one of these people that's projecting the future. I know these power rankings are about the games that have been played, but I'm going to project my opinion on them. It's like college football all over again. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the NFC undefeated teams are the teams that are more like, and just in general, I think the teams that look good versus the teams that look a little shaky.
Yeah.
Maybe it's recency bias, but it does feel, even a couple days after the recap show, it does feel like my take about how much bad football there is accurate, and B, I think, in a little bit like college football, it doesn't take much to start fast because so many teams start slow that if you can be slightly ahead of the curve, and what I would probably point to is whether you like it or not, I think you have to respect the coaching staffs here because their teams were more ready.
Yeah.
Bottom line,
Saints 0 punting is surprising. I realize they played the Panthers and the Cowboys both who suck, but that is an impressive stat.
And if you listen to the sign up weekend episode with Vegas Matty and you stack Derek Carr with Group A, that is incredible right now.
That is incredible. Yeah. I have Group A, I think, in both my fantasy, and it's not them settling for field goals. It's how many touchdowns they've scored and the extra points he's gotten is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
all right, Ryan, let's get into it.
Did some stretching.
Yeah. I'm feeling great.
And again, a little sad that I won so much money week 1 because I was a little bit overconfident in some areas.
Yeah. Again, when Kramer walking around, I'm seeing the board so clear. Just can't wait for the podcast. Oh, this is just so easy. The gambling gods are always listening, Ryan. They're always listening. They heard you. They knew.
In hindsight, we did some things that we will revisit similar situations this week, and we will make a better decision. All right, Thursday night. And by the way, I do have a couple numbers I wanted to share related to what you were talking about earlier. For one, the public. You said fade the public. Had we been fading the public teams that I am marking on our sheets, 3-9-1 ATS through the first 2 weeks. So
poor public.
Poor us for not listening to our own damn advice. The Close Your Eyes special starts out with an 0-1 mark. The Panthers just not enough. The energy of Harbaugh on the sleepover too strong. And one just little nugget to poke your head at real quick. Teams looking ahead to Thursday night or situations, 2-4 ATS and road back-to-back, small sample size, 3-1 teams in that situation. So hot start. I would imagine, as we typically see, that's a trend that regresses as the season grows longer. Thursday night, little divisional battle here. We may have seen the best of the New England Patriots already. The Jets laying 6. I know there's some 6.5s out there. This was actually 7 on the look ahead. -270 on the money line for the Jets, +220 for the Patriots. 38.5 is the total. Whether you want to look at betting splits or folks that give out their picks or other betting shows, the Jets seem to be not a public team, but they're definitely a popular team amongst the sharps in the community, Sean.
Yeah,
I think you have a strong rookie head coach trend.
Yes,
I think in general the Patriots playing these kind of close, drag out, knockout games are interesting. I know the Jets have struggled against the run. The Patriots kind of need to run the ball to have success. I think they might have some success there, but I do think what the Seahawks showed the Jets last week is you can throw the ball. Against this Patriots team is that you can throw the ball. And I think that's the part where the Jets maybe have a chance here. And combine everything together.
Yeah, if you listen to the Thursday Night Prop Show, 1, Boston Capper, hilarious as always. 2, he hates the Patriots still, and pointed out they continue to get banged up on the offensive line, continue to really be thin up there, and
defensively.
Yeah, and defensively they're missing some guys. Jets linebacker Jermaine Johnson, he's out for the season, so I do think. In the middle there, Hunter Henry could get a little bit of his, maybe Ramondre. Okay. But
I like how you're putting the hands out for this.
Well, yeah, getting some, I need a telestrator in here, Ryan. We got to track down a telestrator. I think there's going to be a small amount of opportunity for the Patriots offense to move the ball a little bit. And the Titans, and we'll get to them, they did outgain their opponent once again. And I know Will Levis had that bad turnover, but also back-to-back games of the Titans getting a punt block. So in some ways, Jets fortunate to get the win, fortunate to get the cover. If you watch that game, I understand Will Levis sucks. We'll get to that later, but this is a horrible situation for the Pats, Ryan. If you recall, when I was breaking down of why I like the Bucs against the Lions, coming off an overtime game, I think especially early in the season, where maybe the conditioning's not quite there 100%. You're still getting back into game form in September. I think it matters even more. And you throw that on top of Patriots played multiple possessions in overtime, and they are now playing Thursday. Teams playing a Thursday game coming off an overtime game, 5-24 ATS, and they're on the road. Like, there are just so many, and you have a rookie head coach making his first Thursday night game on a short week. I understand it doesn't feel great to back Robert Saleh, laying a big number. I understand why people might be a little bit worried, but the Jets, you could make a case maybe slightly undervalued because they did play 2 good defenses on the road. And I do think the Titans are a good defense. You look at EPA, you look at yards per play. Again, it's a small sample size, but I think that defense has been keeping them in some games. So I think you're actually getting the Jets here at a decent price. So I don't mind laying the Jets -6 here.
I do think Tennessee makes it difficult to run the ball, which is what the Jets probably need to do. But I also think that the Patriots, I think we're going to see a similar game plan as Seattle against this Patriots defense. And I've been investigating Mike Williams ladders, maybe Breece Hall receiving ladders. It just seems like it's going to be one of those games where home opener for the Jets.
It does feel like Christian Gonzalez sits on Garrett Wilson. I wouldn't be playing any Garrett Wilson overs, but Alan Lazard, I like first touchdown. Maybe some Alan Lazard. If you like Mike Williams, I think this could be a game for him.
Yeah, I'm just sensing this is like the first dud game for the Patriots, where we're like, oh yeah, this was the team that was projected to have the most.
This
losses.
They are who we thought they were, right?
Yeah, a little normalization, and to the point of the Jets maybe being a little fortunate. I think that's probably why the look ahead comes down from 7 to 6. So
yeah,
I'm gonna lay the points with you.
Chalky. And actually in my head, I think, oh, okay, you should be leaning dogs, but you look at it, all the data, like favorites actually are in a better spot, especially home favorites. Having to travel on a short week, like it does impact these guys.
62% of the dollars on the Patriots. So,
oh really?
Go figure.
Oh, public Ryan, you need and you're doing a great job with the graphics, but a dog like scratching his back for public dogs.
I would say not quite public dog, but part of the reason I marked I threw the knife on where the Jets are, because I do think the sharp money is going to be on the Jets, and there is a chance the public finds their way to the Patriots because they haven't been that bad, Sean. They haven't been that bad. That's the public, right? In that line up before the sports bet. They've only lost. They won a game and then they lost the game by 3, and now they're catching 6 points against the Jets. The Jets aren't that good. All right, moving along to Sunday, Sean. We now have a little number next to the games to make sure everyone, if you're in the sheets, know exactly how many games there are in each window. So we can properly strategically plan out the day.
Rotation numbers, but they're for the TV.
But for God's eye.
Yeah.
So early window has 7 games, which, Sean, I don't know how much you're going to want to watch your Eagles closely, but there is I'm
still in.
There is an opportunity for red zone surrounded by 7 football games. Some say perfection. First one we're going to talk about is your Los Angeles San Diego Superchargers heading to Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Steelers home opener. Sean, this is -1.5. It was 2.5 on the look at, so the Chargers are getting some love in a back-to-back road spot here. Of course, we remember they stayed back east. I did the research. They stayed. They stayed in a hotel, but they did no dorms, but they did work out and train at the Charlotte facility. So the relationship there with old Mr. Poggi was accurate, as someone, I think it was Colby, predicted. -120 for the Steelers, +102 for the Chargers. 35.5 is the total. So we've talked about 2 games, and we have 2 games with totals under 40. Sean, I do think that the Chargers road trip, I'm always a vibes guy. That's always a positive thing.
Oh yeah.
But Tomlin laying less than a field goal is basically Tomlin as a dog.
Yeah,
and Tomlin as a dog is undeniable.
Well, and
this is their home opener, as you mentioned. Sean.
Home opener. So if anything, the Steelers team is underrated, and a ton of money is coming in on the Chargers.
1 offensive touchdown.
And I think we're gonna find as we go along. Well, and obviously taking Bryce Young out of the mix changes things. But teams who played the Panthers the week before, their numbers are gonna look a little inflated. Although it didn't stop the Saints from running it up against the Cowboys there. There's a lot going on. One, I mean, Justin Herbert is banged up. He didn't practice today. Obviously, we taped the shows on Wednesday night, youtube.com/sportsgamepodcast. But
I watched the 10-minute Harbaugh presser.
I think he's going to play, but I don't think he's going to be 100%. And I think having that mobility, some of those design runs, some of the RPO stuff they were doing, I think was helping their offense out. And the Chargers, how do they get this going? They establish it. They pound the rock. What are the Steelers good at doing? Stopping you from pounding the rock. You're going, like, everything the Chargers have done well these first couple games plays right into the hands of the Steelers team. Like, the Chargers are trying to get where the Steelers are, right? Like, the Steelers are a much better version of the Chargers, and they're at home, and this is a back-to-back road spot for the Chargers. Ryan, you came up with the same angle that I had, or stumbled upon, that Greg Roman, who is the OC for the Ravens, hasn't had a great time going up against Tomlin defenses.
A ton of data here. Before I get to that, I do want to just interject with some. I did watch a 10-minute Harbaugh presser. Couple things were interesting. He said he wasn't gonna that it's Easton Stick is the starter right now.
Yes,
and that he's not going to get into the what ifs because they'll hit the legal limit. He also went on to say that playing a less mobile Herbert behind against this team, this Steelers team, is something he's thinking about because, of course. And then he goes on to just lather up Mike Tomlin and talk about how much the competition is drawn out of him when he goes against a team like Mike Tomlin.
I mean, how can you not? I feel like I was up and down with the Harbaugh relationship, but I love this version of Harbaugh. The amount of joy he's brought to Justin Decker, which makes it tough because I am on the Steelers here.
Yeah.
And fortunate for us, Decker is he's going on a trip. He's actually going to be in Anchorage, Alaska. So, and I know we have some listeners up there in Anchorage, Alaska. So I'm telling you, if you are doing an NFL Sunday at a bar and you hit up Justin Decker on Twitter, X at Justin Decker, invite him.
Yes,
we will pick up your bar tab to celebrate, to watch Justin Decker. There's got to be sports bars in Anchorage that have the red zone on. It's cold all the time up there. I mean, Anchorage is probably a great place to spend an NFL Sunday, just locked in at some like nice little bar,
football weather,
getting hammered. Maybe we take a vacation up to Anchorage. What I'm getting at is hook Decker up. We'll hook you guys up. We'll pick up the bar tab.
All right. So please hook up Decker. But here's what I would say about the Greg Roman angle you were making earlier. Greg Roman, offensive coordinator in the National Football League for a total of 10 years before this season. 4 with the Ravens, where he played against Tomlin 8 times. 2 years with the Bills, he played Tomlin once, and 4 years with Harbaugh. The first time with the Niners, where he played Tomlin once. In those 10 matchups versus everyone, and honestly, I'll put my graphic on the screen. It's beautiful.
Ryan pulled it out.
Well, people,
this is awesome.
I started mocking the internet by posting silly graphs because people react to images. And so this is an all timer.
Can you explain this slightly, Ryan?
But basically you have your X axis is the team in the year. So
does our audience know the X axis?
They'll figure it out. And the Y axis, which is numbers, is points per game. And so basically the blue line is the points per game that the Greg Roman offense was experiencing that season. And the yellow line is how many points per game they scored against Tomlin. You can see that the yellow line is
it's a pretty big difference
below and so I have it we're talking about in 2011, they scored 20 in a year. They averaged 23.8 in 2016. And I'll keep this graph on the screen. In 2016 with Buffalo, they scored 20. They won the game, but they were averaging 24.9 that year. In 2019, they scored 26 and 28. That's pretty good, but they were averaging 33.2, Sean.
Yeah.
2020, 14 and 24. They were averaging 29.3. And even in the years where the offense started petering off, 22.8 points in 2021 and 20.6 points in 2022, they didn't sniff 20 points against Mr. Tomlin and the Steelers. So
I mean, it's crazy too. And
the thesis being Greg Roman has had a lot of success in the NFL.
Yes.
With his offense, running the ball and controlling games, except for against Mike Tomlin.
Pittsburgh is just a slightly better version. And I'm sure the Chargers are thinking like, hey, down the line, maybe not this year, maybe next year, we can be a version of that Steelers team with a franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert, which I think would put them over the edge. But Herbert's not 100%. Joey Bosa, he's probably going to play. He's dealing with the back thing. And the Steelers are making their home debut. I think the place is going to be going bananas. And you just look at the Steelers. I mean, the spread is what? -1.5. Steelers are 33-11 straight up in 1-score games. Best mark in the NFL since 2020. 31-13 against the spread in those games where their average line being close to pick. So the Steelers win close games. Now, maybe they blow the Chargers out and then we get like an inflated number where we can't play the Steelers. But right now, you got to be locked in on Steelers football, right?
Last thing I'll say, Mike Tomlin on Greg Roman.
Oh yeah. I got a great Tomlin quote when you're done.
Quote, I have a lot of respect for Greg. ... He says some stuff. A lot of what I see on tape is very familiar. And he just, if you watch the clip, he has a look like, All right.
Tomlin's also awesome because when he drops a line that he knows is like going to go viral or something, he like pauses and like looks at the. It was great because he goes. They were asking him about locker room chemistry or something. He goes, "I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it."
That is.
And then he just
true.
like looks right at the reporter who
true.
And what a great metaphor. This team is a hot dog. And as long as Justin Field doesn't drop the hot dog and he continues his no turnover streak, we are going to be doing pretty good.
Tomlin saying, you know the level of shit I'm putting into this delicious ass meat.
Yeah, Justin Fields is like the what are the snout and entrails that get ground up.
Just whatever.
I mean, what is what is TJ Watt? Well, what part of a hot dog? He must like. What's the best part? The mustard, maybe.
He's like a piece of fillet that falls off the wrong table into the hot dog.
A piece of Wagyu that somehow ended up at 7-Eleven.
Some truffle oil or something that got snuck in there. Yeah. So how do you not take the Steelers?
Yeah, both on the Steelers. Okay. Ryan, perfect time to talk about BetUS. Bet with the best. You got to bet with BetUS. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/BetUS. You're gonna get down on some pro football, college football, nice live betting. They got the prop builder, of course, America's favorite sports book. If you go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS, toss us a bone and toss yourself a bone. It's always great to have as many options as possible. Lightning fast deposits and even faster withdrawals. Very easy. I've been working with them, getting down on action, withdrawing. It's very simple, very easy. You get those deposit bonuses. And of course, use our link so they know we sent you. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Ryan, I already got down on my first bet of the week. I got, and I think they had Pittsburgh -1.5, but I instead took Steelers money line. BetUS had -115. So head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS.
I do have written down here. Ask Sean if he would rather take the money line.
Yeah, I think I would, because them winning this game 14-13 definitely in my model. The Steelers, as much as they've been awesome, they only have one offensive touchdown. So a 13-12 game, 7-6.
Yeah.
You don't want to be, and the money line is pretty close most places. If you can get them -115, -120 on the money line, I actually think in this game you are better off taking the money line.
Yeah, I mean this is going to be a bunch of field goals, right? We agree. All right, game number 2 on Sunday. Got the Chicago Bears also on a back-to-back road spot. Sean, they're heading to Indy to take on the Colts. Very similar to the game we just talked about. -1.5, although it was 2.5 on the look ahead. -120 again on the money line for the home team, the Colts. Bears +102. 43.5 is the total. We've seen. I think we've seen this number come down a small tick. Like I mentioned, Bears on that back-to-back road spot, and this is a very confusing game for me.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, the Bears have not looked good on offense at all, but they've been competitive in games thanks to their defense. Meanwhile, the Colts defense clearly has issues, but their offense is like insane. If you look at some of the yards per play stuff,
because they played Colts are one of the harder teams to get a handle on because they lost in 2 completely different ways. One where they had some explosive plays in a dome against a Texans team that was a very good team. They lost, they lost by a couple of points. I know because I had Houston laying 2.5. They gave them everything they could. Played a very good game, and then they go into Green Bay, non-conference road spot. In hindsight, what are we doing taking AR-15 as a non-conference road favorite? And they got pushed around. They got out game planned. It was a smash mouth strategy. It was a very obvious strategy to me. It was like, Colts, load the box. Yeah. They're going to run the ball at you. And they did. It was like 50+ rushing attempts and the Colts didn't do anything to stop it.
I think DeForest Buckner getting hurt had something to do with that.
That didn't help. But and then on their offensive side, Jonathan Taylor 12 carries for over 100 yards. Why are you not running the fucking ball, Shane Steichen? I don't get it. They were talking about all this awesome RPO stuff they were going to do. Wasn't there? It was a lot of AR-15 trying to improvise.
He looked like he was told not to run.
Yeah, there was like a weird. We were trying to say, was he hurt? Was he playing? So he's not on the injury report. And I was going back and forth with this too, because DeForest Buckner not being there is big. He would have feasted. I was going to say eated. He would have ate against his Bears offensive line, which has looked pretty rough. But here's what I'll say. Non-conference road spot for Caleb Williams, back-to-back road spot for a rookie quarterback is a very tough spot. And then we'll come back to a overall trend that I've been kind of keeping my eye on. Not going to play it blindly, but I think if it's close, I'm going to look to it to maybe swing the tide. Teams that are 0-2 straight up in the NFL, 26-25 straight up, but 35-15-1 ATS against 1-1 teams in week 3 since 2010. So, which kind of makes sense. If you started out 0-2, probably a little undervalued by the market. I think AR-15, as rough as he looks, I have him graded much higher than Caleb Williams. Bears have 2.97 yards per play. Lowest mark in the NFL, but they have played 2 tough defenses. I think the Titans defense is good. I think the Houston defense at home is good. You know, you said the Bears hung around with the Texans and they did. I think obviously if Cam Akers doesn't fumble on that 1 yard line going in, maybe, and Bears don't backdoor that 6.5, the conversation is a little different. I hope they figure out that, hey, we just need to give Jonathan Taylor the ball a ton, pound the rock. I think you're going to be able to do that against this Bears team. You're going to be able to set up some play action. The vibes, Ryan, if you're a vibes guy, it's tough to like the Bears here catching less than a field goal. So I will go with the Colts, but I can see the case for both sides.
I think your trend on just 0-2 teams. There's a lot of 0-2 team type trends that apply to the Colts, especially the ones that focus on the performance and seeing the offense. 18-7 straight up in ATS when a team is 0-2 and has a yards per play north of 6. 0-2 teams with a +1 yards per play differential, also 75% AT. So there's all these regression like models that are going to point to the Colts here. And I think I'm with you, because here's my pause. So Jonathan Taylor didn't play in the 4th quarter, and this is Shane Steichen he was asked why, and this was the answer. We wanted to get Trey some reps. That was it.
Yeah.
Are we worried there's something going on here?
That was weird. And I tried to dig around and find something more.
That's all you can find.
Yeah.
That's all they really asked him about. It seems like everything's normal. Whatever injury we saw because AR-15 was throwing like these soft floaters and not running the ball, he's not on the injury report. So I guess we have to assume that the whole team hasn't been, I don't know, visited or abducted and replaced by clones, because they didn't look like the same team.
Yeah, there's in no scenario am I benching Jonathan Taylor for Trey Sermon.
What happened?
I don't know.
They do
really
love Trey Sermon in Indy. They do really love him. But I'm with you. I think you lay the points here. Chicago has yet to impress, and I think Chicago has covered and or pushed last week in their games this year more because of their opponent than because of them. Maybe I'm underrating the defense, but boy, that I watched their tackle, and I think I put this on the old X, but it looked like Eric Flowers and Evan Neal had a baby, because that tackle the Bears are running out there is a serious problem. And if Caleb Williams going to have no awareness,
I was saying, Caleb Williams holding on to the ball too long, and people are, he had the 6th quickest release time. It's like, come on, guys, we watch football. He's a rookie.
Yeah.
His awareness, to Ryan's point, is down. I mean, when you sit back there and you don't see the unblocked guy coming off the edge pre-snap, you're going to get fucked up. This is the National Football League. Shout out to Mace, Ryan, who looking better and better after making the decision to not associate with P Diddy. I mean,
wow,
we got to get Mace on the podcast sometime because he was making a bunch of money with P Diddy, having a rap career. Then all of a sudden decided to become a preacher. People are like, wait, what happened there? So maybe he seemed to maybe see something or see the light, make a good choice. But he had a great quote saying, it feels like Caleb Williams is trying to play college football at the pro level. And that's the same thing I'm seeing from Caleb Williams. I think, his ability to extend the play and improvise and do everything that Patrick Mahomes did, who he's being compared to coming in pre-draft. I think that will be a great asset. But before then, he's got to figure out how to play in the pocket, how to, read the progressions, how to make checks at the line. And it's a growing process. I don't think he's there.
I mean, I think, and this is where Patrick Mahomes getting to sit down for almost a full year, probably helping out a little bit, getting a little bit of those mental reps before you get destroyed in real live fire. All right.
So you're on Indy ride.
We are. Yeah. We're riding down the same aisle so far. And we didn't learn anything. We're just taking all the favorites. I specifically thought we were gonna.
I got some dogs coming
ask some
up.
questions.
I got some dogs.
All right, next up we have the very hot and honestly passing the eye test Minnesota Vikings on both offense and defense. They look like a good team. They're at home here taking on the Houston Texans in a non-conference road spot for the Texans. They're laying 2.5. Sean, this is a big move off the look ahead of 4. Where I think maybe people are getting they're riding high. They're feeling good about the Vikings. Plus 114 home dog, 45.5 is the total. Anytime you have a team that is undefeated ATS, you're implicitly just thinking, okay, the dog going against this team at some point is probably going to be the way to go.
Yep.
But I think something we may have not accounted for, Sean,
listening.
The Brian Flores revenge tour this entire season.
Okay.
We know the story about the lawsuit and him getting blackballed out of a job. Thanks to Belichick texting the wrong Brian.
That was really funny.
But Tua called him a terrible human being just weeks ago.
Yeah.
You don't think he wants to go out and show every one of these young quarterbacks how terrible he is? Brian Flores against a young quarterback who, by the way, did you see the clip of CJ Stroud trying to bestow some wisdom on Caleb Williams?
Funny.
And Caleb was like, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
That was weird. Maybe J Mark's right about this guy.
I could wait about. So who do you think that was weirder on, Caleb Williams or CJ Stroud?
I think it's very normal for quarterbacks to get together and have a word, say something in the other guy's ear, have a quick conversation. I think that's completely normal. I think CJ Stroud was seeing a guy who clearly is beat the fuck up and was probably just trying to keep his spirits high. Now I understand not wanting to hear that.
Yeah.
But you were so buttoned up the entire pre-draft process. You came off like such a pro. And in the first moment where there's a little bit of adversity in an on-camera moment, you look like a petulant child.
Well, I would say this in Caleb Williams' defense, someone that's the same age as you giving you like old man advice, it's a little like, all right, dude, come on. You won.
No, but you're in a league where it doesn't matter if the guy's older or younger than you. It's about like that guy's somewhere you want to be. And so, yeah, I think if you're looking at it like that, yeah, you're not going to last very long. I mean, just look at the situation we'll talk about in a little bit with Andy Dalton, Bryce Young. You got to be a pro with this stuff, and you got to be willing. Yeah, I thought that looked worse for Caleb Williams. If you're about, is the other side of it that CJ Stroud is trying to look like a fucking, like he's trying to build some sort of reputation.
I don't know. I would put it this way. If I was in Caleb Williams' place and I just lost a game on prime time like that, and then I got a guy who's the same age as me who I think I'm much better than giving me advice and like saying, keep your head up. I could see being annoyed at that. So I feel for him.
Yeah.
But I like
unfortunately you're not better than him.
I like CJ Stroud. I like CJ Stroud. And I'm fine with Caleb Williams thinking he's better than CJ Stroud. He should think that. He's a quarterback. What I don't believe,
smile and say thanks, man. Good game.
Yeah. Is Sam Darnold. This is an outlier right now. Sam Darnold, this is not going to continue. So we know who Sam Darnold is. Don't fall for the Sam Darnold trap.
Are we sure?
Yes. And this is the massive letdown spot for the Vikings. I mean, come on, Sam Darnold in the locker room celebrating the revenge game. This is when you fade the Vikings. The Vikings, this is a all-time high Vikings. What was the number before the season started for the Vikings? If you're backing the Vikings, even though they're a home dog, you're buying them at their absolute height. The look ahead line, I'm sure, was like, if you knew Sam Darnold was the starter preseason for this week 2 game, I'm sure it would have been like Houston -6. The Vikings dumped the Gatorade.
The preseason number was Houston by 3.5.
Was that with Sam Darnold as the starter?
This was the off-season opener. So it's either Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, which I think Sam Darnold probably had similar or higher value.
You want to talk about revenge game? Cam Akers revenge game. I think I like CJ Stroud.
Danielle Hunter too.
Yeah, Danielle Hunter. Revenge game. I can trust CJ Stroud in a close game. I know maybe.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can
against Brian Flores.
Yes,
we're not at all worried about.
Love it.
Young quarterback against Brian Flores.
Yeah,
he's confused the last 2 quarterbacks.
Show me a spot where CJ Stroud has looked overwhelmed. Yes, in the divisional round of the playoffs game in the second half, he was in over his head. Other than that,
at times last week, I thought he looked to be making some almost poor decisions.
Oh, okay. I thought he played a pretty good game, played within himself. Cam Akers doesn't fumble on the 1 yard line. They win by double digits. No one says a thing.
I think well aware that the Vikings are probably a little overrated right now.
Yep.
But I did.
So you think the Vikings get up for this game internally?
I did go back and look to see this exact thing. Is the number moving accordingly? Because I would think people are down on the Texans and high on the Vikings, but it's not the case. It's not the case with where the number has gone. And I think you can look at the Texans in a couple of different lenses. They played down to their competition in both weeks, I thought, and they let teams hang around in situations maybe they shouldn't have. And I think this Vikings team, more so than any team in the league, not named the Saints, they've had a plan. On offense and defense. They've had a plan and they've executed.
D'Amico Ryans versus Sam Darnold. Love that match.
That worries me a little.
Love it. Bring it.
But I also like this being a home game for the Vikings.
And you haven't even talked about Justin Jefferson. And he's dealing with the quad contusion.
He's fine.
Okay, so he's going to be 100%.
I think he's going to be 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Derek Stingley will limit him to under 100 yards.
I don't think anyone can limit Justin Jefferson.
Okay, I think you throw in the injury and a good cornerback, a motivated Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson.
I understand why you'd want to lay the 2.5 with Houston on the road here.
Yes.
I totally get it.
Great.
But and they're probably not looking ahead to a nice divisional matchup against Jacksonville. But I think there's too many elements of what the Vikings have done that is believable. And I don't think you can. I think
you're overrating their week 1 win.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm definitely not, because they backed it up in week 2.
And you want to talk about looking ahead? Vikings go into Lambeau next week.
That's fine.
Okay.
This is a huge. You have CJ Stroud coming to town again. I think the defense is a bigger advantage than you're letting on for Brian Flores. That defense is feeling themselves right now.
Yeah.
And I absolutely think they're going to be able to do some of the same things here. And I do think it's a big deal that Joe Mixon is hurt, because he was bringing a certain type of physicality to their offense that you're not getting the same thing from Cam Akers and Dare Abu, whatever his name is. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. So yeah, I'll take the points here. We'll differ. I'll take a dog, and I'll foolishly buy the Vikings for one more week at least.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Maybe next week's the week I sell. Game number.
You didn't buy him week 1 though.
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't buy them week 1. I thought it was foolish. And then Sam Darnold looked good in this offense. And then he looked good again in this offense.
All right.
You're acting like they've been fluky. And I don't think anything about what they've done in either game.
97-yard touchdown bomb was a little fluky.
To Justin Jefferson, and that's a hell of a throw.
Yeah.
That's not a fluky. They called a play and it worked. And you got Justin Jefferson. You're going to do that. You want to see Sam Darnold taking those shots. All right. Sean,
Kramer doing 20 minutes on the Vikings.
Really? Okay.
No, I mean
Giants.
You made a case for the Vikings.
Yeah, Sean wants to go faster.
I wanted to move on like 10 minutes ago from the Vikings.
All right, Giants, Browns, game number 4. Giants also in a back-to-back road spot here. Cleveland taking on all the money, 70% of the bets early on the Browns, -6.5, -350 on the money line, +280 for the Giants. Giants are looking ahead to a Thursday night spot against the Cowboys.
Oh no.
What are we even talking about here? This is not a good matchup for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean the Giants are horrible. I don't know what to say. I think you could get cute and take the Browns here, but why? I mean, did you see the Giants? Their defense against the Commanders.
You might get cute and take the Giants.
Yeah, sorry, get cute and take the Giants. I know it doesn't feel great laying points with the Browns, but there's
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I mean this is 17-3. This is going to be an ugly game. I mean the only angle, and maybe we do get cute and take the Giants. The teams that are 0-2 against the 1-1 teams. I don't know, man. The Giants have allowed Sam Darnold and Jaden Daniels to complete a combined 79.2% of their passes.
Yeah, they seem to be implementing this weird bend but don't break philosophy. Yeah, they didn't give up a touchdown last time.
That is true, but I don't think the Commanders.
You would want to play.
Did the Commanders punt last week?
No.
Okay, that's a bad sign.
Would you want Deshaun Watson? I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't understand the game plan, and I do think that they will have, like Dexter Lawrence will be an advantage. And if they can get Deshaun Watson running around, you never know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
The game plan last week was so bad. I mean, I was sitting watching the game and it's just like anyone who's played Madden before, like, why are you sitting back? I guess the explanation was they wanted to, you don't want to turn your back on a mobile quarterback. And it's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're giving a team that wants to run screen passes 10 yards of cushion. So,
and the Browns, it looks like they're going to get both their tackles back. So if you're holding on to the idea of like, hey, this offensive line is banged up, Brian Burns can wreck this game. I don't see that.
It wouldn't be Brian. I mean, Brian Burns and Thibodeau have not wrecked anything yet. It would be Dexter Lawrence.
Salary cap they've wrecked.
But I would say I mean, again, we're days away since Kirk Cousins again took to prime time and took down the Eagles. And you're still focused on the Giants.
We are talking about the Giants.
So are you taking the Giants, Sean?
No,
because I would. You're going to be on the public team.
It's the all-time cute move, but yeah, I am taking the Browns. I know you should take the Giants, but I want no part of this Giants team.
I think you have to take the Browns.
Okay,
even though they're a public team. They just
public wins some games.
Malik Neighbors did look good.
Yeah.
Any chance he has a big game against the Browns defense?
Well, the Browns have pretty good cornerbacks, and I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to have a ton of time. Like, I think, yeah, will he get like 8 catches because he's targeted 15 times? Sure. But will it be an impactful game? I don't know.
The game against the Jags last week was so messy.
Yeah.
It just seems like the Browns shouldn't be laying 6.5 versus anyone, right? Is that not not a fairly accurate
fair
statement?
Counter. But
yeah, I can't lay 6.5 with Deshaun Watson. Hopefully we get Tommy DeVito.
All right.
I don't like this.
I'll stick with the Browns.
Good luck. Game number 5, and maybe Sean wants to put it on the big screen. Although after the performance last week, I think maybe some punishment is in order. Eagles.
And I updated the spread because the line is 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, it's Circa, BetUS, DraftKings. They all have Eagles getting 3 points.
That's fine. Or before the show, I did ask you to check the numbers to see if you wanted to check and change.
Did anything. I say anything? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I assume no response was good. Eagles catching 2.5 threes in some places, according to Sean.
Everywhere you would be betting.
Eagles coming off a Monday night disaster, and Sean, this is almost incredible. But the look ahead was the Eagles were laying 3.5.
Yes.
And now this line is flopped all the way around to New Orleans -3, and New Orleans is the public side
Yes.
My God. Minus 152 on the money line, plus 128 for the Eagles. 49.5 is the total. This is 100% almost unbelievable, but the Saints have looked so good, Sean.
Yeah.
It might be the best team in the NFL.
Maybe, but the Saints fat and happy. This is the perfect time to fade them. A hungry Eagles team coming in.
Heartbreaking loss.
Heartbreaking loss. They're going to be super motivated. If the Saints lose this game, it's not a big deal for them. If the Eagles lose this game, this would be a really tough loss. I guess I'm skeptical that Derek Carr is going to be the NFL MVP. I realize he started out like that, but I'm skeptical that that's going to continue. And teams that have gotten off to this crazy hot start in the first 2 weeks are horrible ATS. Teams that are 2-0 that have outscored the teams by 25 points or more, 16-29 and 2 ATS in week 3. The market has overreacted. If you're a market sharp like Ryan, you gotta love the Eagles as a dog. Hungry dogs run faster. I think the offensive line is going to push people around. I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a big game. I mean, if Saquon Barkley catches that ball, which is, you would imagine a lot of professional running backs could catch that ball.
That's typically what he would do with that kind of pass, though.
Okay.
Big pressure moment, swing pass.
All right.
Most drops of any running back in the NFL since 2021.
So hypothetically, he does catch that ball. The Eagles cover. The narrative is not this drastic. I think the Eagles are probably still a road favorite. So you're getting crazy reaction based off that Saquon drop and then that last drive by the Falcons.
Is AJ Brown playing?
No, I don't think so.
That matters.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you want to say, hey, the Saints are awesome, they're gonna be the number 1 seed in the NFC. Alvin Kamara is going to be a problem for this Eagles defense. I see it. I see your case, but I like the Eagles back against the wall. I think Jalen Hurts. You saw some explosive running, and that's when this team is at its best. When Jalen Hurts is a decisive runner, and you saw that against the Atlanta Falcons. Saints play a lot of cover 1, which normally the way to beat it is throw the ball to AJ Brown. But the problem with cover 1 is you turning your back a lot to the quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts, you want to talk about props and stuff. He's going to have a big game running the ball. I think him, Saquon, it's going to be, they're going to take a couple deep shots with Devonta.
Not worried about the defense at all?
No, I am. I mean, the defense does not look great. They've played really well in the red zone at times. I guess that would be the highlight, but yeah, they need more of a pass rush for sure.
Are you worried at all about the fact that the real blunder last week was Sirianni not going for it on 4th down, and perhaps he's lost the locker room?
I don't think he's lost the locker room. Again, I would have not thrown the ball to Saquon Barkley. I would have ran on 3rd down, and then if you didn't get it, go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, call me a sucker, but I think there's something very wrong with this defense.
Okay, and
I think the Saints offense is cooking.
You and the public, right?
Cooking. I'm get me and all the public. I see the angle. This is a massive move, but boy, crushing blow in prime time to Kirk Cousins just mere hours ago. We'll see if they can get back. Yeah.
Okay.
Like 72. Less than 100 hours, Sean.
All right.
Game number 6. Denver, the Broncos. We were talking about this before the show, Sean. Almost feel like we're being baited into a position, but the Broncos on the road in Florida, they take on a Tampa team that is the most public side, I believe, of the weekend. -6.5, -335 on the money line. Denver +270, 39.5 is the total. We've seen this number come up from the open. It was closer to the look ahead of 5.5. I believe it's some 6s. Yeah, this one's insane because on one hand, Tampa has looked very good.
Yeah.
They certainly look like a team that's going to contend in the division, and Denver's looked horrible. But Baker, like last week, was probably the more akin to a situation you take Baker catching points on the road, at home here with expectations against the Sean Payton team. What's the number in week 3? You said he's bad the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, week 3 it's comical how
this
like
is
week
week?
1 and 2 he sucks, and then week 3 he turns it on, and he's awesome. There's a lot to break down here. I mean, one, Todd Bowles has done a really good job against rookie quarterbacks, 11-5 straight up since 2019. But to your point, Ryan, of Bowles as a favorite, if he's favored by 6 or more,
it's not good.
8 times in his career, he's 5-3 straight up, only 2-6 ATS. And you want to talk about a team with the back against the wall? The Denver Broncos have that back against the wall. Now the Bucks, they just won a game. They avenged their playoff loss. They're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. You got Patrick Surtain against Mike Evans. I think that's a matchup that's favorable. And the Bucks, Vita Vea is out. Vita Vea is out, Ryan. So I think the Broncos will be able to get some running game going. And then Bo Nix. Yeah, he hasn't looked great. Obviously, none of the rookie quarterbacks have looked great, but Bo Nix in particular has had a pretty tough go out of it. You start at Seattle against a pretty good defense on the road, hostile environment, and then you play the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I think the Steelers are the best defense in the NFL right now. So certainly, and the Bucs defense isn't horrible, but you throw in the Vita Vea injury, you throw in the secondary injuries. This is by far the easiest defense he's faced. Now, what I don't,
not just Vita Vea either. Cansey is on the injury report, DNP Wednesday. Golston DNP Wednesday. I mean, they're missing a number of Logan Hall limited. So the defensive line in general, we already know we highlighted the defensive backfield, although they showed up against the Bucks, but just more injuries to this defense. And it does seem you have these games sometime where it's like you find out the broadcast is talking about how they're short. They're short a lot of dudes this week, and defensive line, no team's deep. No team is deep enough to where you can miss your top 3 guys.
Well, and you know, I'm going back and forth. The Bulls rookie quarterback. It is going to be hot, and the humidity is only 19%. Humidity is only 19%, but it's going to be
Florida. That can't be right.
Double check the weather, Ryan, because it said 90 degrees.
90 degrees, but 19% humidity. It's
weird, right? That kind of dry.
That's not right. In Florida,
yeah,
that's impossible. I mean, that would be low for here. Let's see. I think that's a chance of rain.
The other bad news for the Broncos, they did lose Mike McGlinchey. He's on the IR right tackle. So
93, or so it's going to be 88 at kickoff. Feels like 93. Humidity is 58%. Yeah. So and
it doesn't feel great, but
potentially some cloud cover.
I think this is the Broncos spot. Call me crazy. Give me the Broncos and the points.
Peyton does have any sort of experience from time in the division against the old Bucks. Does that matter? I hate that I hate the Bucks that are public. I hate that. I understand why we're supposed to take the Broncos here. Oh, I'll take the Broncos.
No lies in the YouTube chat saying Nix is from the South. He might not be affected as much by humidity. Like that angle.
I do think the key point you highlighted is if Denver is able to run the ball, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
Okay enough. And
I think this will end up being a little uglier game.
6.5, just too many.
Feels like a 21-17.
It's the classic Tampa wins, but doesn't cover.
Yeah, I could see that. Hey, Ryan, have you gone over to Underdog Fantasy? Use the promo code SGPN and get you 100% deposit match. 50% deposit match up to $1,000. If not, what are you waiting for? Get in on the action. Ryan, we gave out some Thursday night stuff. You know what? I'm going to jump ahead, and I mean, we're going to talk a bunch about this game, but right now over on Underdog Fantasy, get in on this one now. Adam Thielen higher. 4 receptions. Andy Dalton played 1 game with him last year. He completed 11 passes to Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen super frustrated because of Bryce Young sucking. I like Adam Thielen higher. Ryan, give me something to pair with my Adam Thielen higher 4 receptions.
Well, we were just talking about this game. Whatever, I would assume that we're just going to see a very, very obvious game plan from Pittsburgh and the Chargers, and I do think that let's just take the Najee higher rushing yards.
Do we? Yeah. Because I mean, it doesn't say, and poor people who drafted Jaylen Warren, who I thought, I had some shares of him in best ball, but it's like Cordell Patterson and
Arthur Smith has a type.
And thankfully they like Najee, who I also have a lot of. So officially Adam Thielen higher 4 receptions, Najee Harris higher 51.5 reception, or sorry, 51.5 rushing yards.
The number's so low.
Yeah. The underdog keeps wanting to give me this CeeDee Lamb higher a half total yards. No, not falling for it. Underdog fantasy promo code SGPN.
We need a mute button on some of those promos. I don't need all your promos. All right, Sean.
Yes.
Let's finish up the early window. Game number 7. We got a little Malik Willis revenge game potential. The Packers heading down to Tennessee, take on the Titans here in the early window. Packers are public, catching 70% of the bets at +2.5, +118 on the money line. Tennessee -138, 37.5 is the total. And Sean, I was sitting here and I'm like, man, am I really going to go to the well again and lose money on the Tennessee Titans? And then I start reading some stuff. I'm like, oh, some more good points over here. Then I see, this person, this sharp. Well, it's a market situation here where how much do you believe Malik Willis in game 2? How much do you believe they can run back that game plan against the Tennessee team that's looked good against the run?
Yeah. I mean, that you're playing into the Titans strength is defending the run. One thing that's been pretty consistent with this Titans defense has been stopping the running game.
And although they have 70% of the bets, Sean, Tennessee is catching 60% of the hand. So
sharp alert, Ryan. Our fellow sharps have been getting crushed on this Tennessee team.
And us.
Yes.
All of us.
What and I don't think Jordan Love plays. I know he was limited officially in practice. I think the Packers would be insane to play him
in this matchup. Why would you do that
against a good defense in a non-conference game? I think it's kind of reckless to be playing him here.
This team, if anyone knows Malik Willis, there are people in the Tennessee building that know Malik Willis well. So I don't know.
I mean, maybe the guys who played against him.
What do you mean?
Well,
you don't think there's guys on the defensive side of the ball that are like, yo, this is the guy that fucking Vrabel wouldn't play.
He got benched during a preseason drive, which is an all timer. Yeah, I think this is one more time for the Titans.
If the Packers can't run against this, what is looking to be a very good to elite run defense.
And again, this leans right into the 0-2 straight up team against the 1-1 team. I mean, honestly, maybe it's Will Levis first half. I found a nugget. Will Levis 8-3 in the first half ATS, 1-10 second half ATS. And I mentioned it earlier, back-to-back games with blocked punts. Like if they can I know his turnovers have been bad, but you have a quarterback that's young, they're going to turn the ball over. What you can't have is back-to-back games with block fucking punts. One was for a touchdown. The other one set up a touchdown. Everyone keeps talking about Malik Willis. Who's the special teams coordinator in Tennessee? And I came in being high on Callahan as a head coach, but Jesus, man, you cannot have back-to-back.
This is one of those. Well, he's a good offensive coordinator, but he didn't realize head coaching is about special. You got to worry about this other bullshit.
Titans 10th in defensive EPA, and then Tony Pollard. You want to, and I'm sure I'm going to hit on him in the props. I have him marked as a guy to keep an eye on. I think Tajay Spears maybe nicked up a little bit. Heavy dose of Tony Pollard. You saw it with Saquon Barkley having a great game against the Packers, and you saw it with Jonathan Taylor. For some reason, the Colts didn't want to stick with it. Packers have back-to-back 100+ yard games rushing. So I like Tony Pollard to get it going, who's kind of been their best thing offensively. And Calvin Ridley came to life, like leading the team in air yards, had that deep ball, dropped another one he should have had. I think they get the win and the cover. But this is this is the last time with the Titans.
I believe, Spears the only Titan on the injury report, but it does seem like there's a chance he's not going to play. So Pollard, great angle.
Tyler Remsburg saying, "I will bet the Titans until the NFL season is over."
Yes, tighten up.
#Legends only.
Tighten up. All right. So we're both on Tennessee one more time. All right.
Yeah.
We're not. It doesn't seem like we're correcting any of our mistakes from last week. Still,
no, but Ryan, but if we, I mean, you can't chase it in the NFL.
I know.
Dogs had a great week last week. If you go all dogs this week, is that going to work out?
No. But I did in my head say we probably shouldn't take Tennessee this week. But here we are. All right, let's head over to the afternoon window. 1:05 p.m. on the West Coast. We're heading to Las Vegas, where Sean and I will be Friday. Decent. 8 p.m. on the West Coast, Sports Gambling Podcast Live. But the game, and I guess we'll get to see how many Panthers fans. I know Derek likes to host the away fan base, so shout out to the Panthers fans. If you're going to be at the Circa, we'll see you Friday night. They're catching 5.5 here on the road in Las Vegas. Sean, plus 198 on the money line, minus 240 for the Raiders. We got a 39.5 total. Obviously, the big news here is no more Bryce Young. That caused the move. The look ahead was 4.5, caused the line to go to 5.5. What?
No, it was 7, and it went down to 5.5.
No, the look ahead was 4.5. It was 7 at open.
Oh, okay.
And it got bet down to 5.5.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting. Perhaps the look ahead had some sort of idea that Bryce Young would be benched, which would be a shocker because Andy Dalton himself said, I was very surprised when Coach Canales came and spoke with me. I didn't mention it, but the Raiders are a public side here. They're coming off the big win. They look good. I mean, Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers, one of the best 1-2 punches.
Devontae Adams might be talking to Gardner Minshew.
Well, I mean, Gardner Minshew, the only quarterback in the league with 250-yard passing games in both games this year. And like I was saying, Adams and Bowers looks like a pretty serious 1-2 punch. And we still got fucking Antonio Pierce whispering in my ears about Zamir White's 20
the whole
carries.
press conference was about how Zamir White needs more touches.
This is the week against this Carolina run defense. I keep making these graphs that show how good and bad the NFL teams are. And Sean, news flash.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers are bad on a level. And take Terrell's comment down because we can't actually see the Panthers. He's covering the corner of the graph where the Panthers are. This is eliminating garbage time.
Wow.
This is
not a good look for the Panthers.
I mean, look at all the other teams, and there's a lot of bad teams this year. They're all in the middle. Panthers are down there. So are we sure that Andy Dalton is really going to help improve this team that is unmeasurable right now?
Yes.
In a moment where we're about to get the goddamn Zamir White game, Sean.
Well, you're underestimating not only Ryan. Canales had to bench Bryce Young because he was in danger of losing the locker room. It's not only you're upgrading the play from Bryce Young to a competent starting quarterback, as we saw last year with Andy Dalton going into Seattle and probably should have maybe won that game, even covered. They ended up losing by 10, but he was in that game. They threw the ball 53 times. Their game plan was insane, but Andy Dalton looked like a competent quarterback. Not only are you getting the boost at quarterback, but really it's about the boost you get for your entire team. I mentioned Adam Thielen. He was whipping his helmet off because he was wide fucking open. These guys are pros. The guys on the defense that have been playing like shit. You know why they play like shit? Because they know it's pointless. If they get a stop, if they force a punt, you got Bryce Young on the other side who's 1 for 20 on third downs. Like, that is not getting you up. That is not motivating you. And you have Raiders, who there's some rumors about them liking to hang out in town, coming off a big win against the Ravens.
What do you mean?
And just the Ravens, the Raiders coming back to Vegas after that Ravens win. I think they will have a couple cocktails.
Oh, you're making up shit.
Feel good about themselves.
How dare you?
Raiders as favorites of 4 points or more since last 23 games, 6-17 ATS.
It's not a good spot to have them.
No, they're not great as big favorites. They're frisky dogs and small favorites. That's the type of team they run. And even Antonio Pierce would probably tell you he doesn't give a fuck about winning by 5.5 points. He cares about pounding the rock, ugling the game up, which is the only way that the Panthers are going to hang around. I'm taking the Panthers plus 5.5. I'm going to be smashing some Adam Thielen ladders. Get the stick ready for Adam Thielen, Ryan, in a dome. Let's go.
So we already knew that they lost Derek Brown, defensive lineman, key player.
You can't talk about players in this game.
A'Shawn Robinson also seemed to hurt his knee. He's probably their second best defensive lineman against the run. They have another. They have another defensive lineman who's missing practice this week. So I think a little bit like the Bucks, which you were very keen to see that handicap. I do think that he's going to be able to run the damn ball and cover this number. I'm going to the donkey window for the second time on the show. And I'm sure.
The fact that I was kind of surprised. I thought everyone would be on Carolina plus 5.5. I was kind of surprised they were not a public. Yeah.
Carolina is per VSiN, aka DK numbers here. 17% of the bets and 24% of the handle.
Are you kidding me?
Is on Carolina.
Oh my God, they're gonna win. This is what the correction needed to be.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ugly dogs.
I worry that Andy Dalton might not be that much of an upgrade, and that Dave.
Take that out of your mouth. Bryce Young, bring up your Bryce Young graph, Ryan. I know you got it sitting over there. He's not bad. He's historically bad. He was the #1 pick, and they benched him week 3. Do you know how bad you have to be?
Yeah, I know, completely agree. But the impressive part is that their defense.
This is how you do it.
Already like
because they have Bryce Young as their quarterback. But they're not going to play hard.
They're historically bad as well. I mean, we watched Decker celebrating a game being over with 8 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, because as soon as they came out on the field, they knew they had Bryce Young. This is what happened. They're going to get up for this game. They're going to shock the world. They're going to beat the Raiders, and then they're going to get their asses kicked next week. Come on, Ryan. You've watched the league.
I have watched the league. I appreciate this, but I don't think the Panthers are going to be able to stop the run at all. And I don't think they're going to be that defensive line against the Panthers offensive line. Forget the quarterback. You expecting Andy Dalton to come out here looking like fucking Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I will have to this is going to be one of those in real life, how I thought it was going to go. And then in real life, because boy, good luck, Sean. I'll lay the points. Me and 83% of the public. 1:05 PM. Another game here where this one is a bit of an interesting move. Obviously, Tua no longer going to be playing, although he is going to heroically come back to play football. The Dolphins here coming off a game where they got absolutely throttled by the Buffalo Bills. They're actually a close your eyes special, Sean, because coming off Thursday night, little mini bye, they got beat by 21. They were a favorite, so they underperformed the spread by 21. And now they're catching 4.5 on the road in Seattle. Seattle is -225 on the money line. Miami +188. 41.5 is the total. I do think Miami will end up being one of these sharp sides. You see the crisscross bet splits, only 37% of the bets, but 52% of the handle on the Dolphins. I also think when you think about what Skylar Thompson is, I do think that Skylar Thompson has played some competent football. He's only had 3 starts for this team. He's gone 1-1. He also started a playoff game. They lost to the Bills 34-31, if you recall.
Covered.
And I think we're probably talking about Geno Smith as a guy who we don't want to lay 4.5 points with. Bottom line.
Yeah, and to me, this is matchup wise. I like a backup quarterback catching some points. There's always going to be value there, but this is, you want to talk about situation spot. You have the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, they, it is a tough travel spot for the Miami Dolphins, but they're coming off extra rest, extra time to prepare the backup quarterback, and you have a Seattle team that was all the way in New England. And that coming off an overtime game, a tough physical overtime game,
crossing all those times
where they ran the ball a ton, and Kenneth Walker doesn't seem like he's going to be playing. If you've actually kind of watched the Seahawks the past couple of years, they really aren't the same team without Kenneth Walker. 5-9 straight up when he doesn't play or gets fewer than 10 carries. So they kind of go the way that Kenneth Walker goes, and I think Charbonnet is interesting for fantasy, but I think Miami's going to be able to run the ball, and Seattle, yes, they've played well, but they haven't faced any receivers like what the Miami Dolphins are going to be trotting out. So I think you'll get a couple big plays from Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, and that'll keep them in this game. 4.5 feels like a lot, especially again. Look at how bad the Lions and Rams looked last week coming off their overtime game.
Sneaky shootout game, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ladder. We'll have to look at some ladders in this game. I mean, if you're going to give me a massive discount on like a Tyreek Hill situation just because it's Skylar Thompson, he does his work after the catch. And yeah, I go to the church, close your eyes special. So there's not much to think about here.
As Terrell in the chat says, bro, it's an easy close your eyes special. I agree. I'm all over it.
I did look into the experience of McDonald versus McDonald or McDaniel. Excuse me. It's like a fucking riddle. They both had a good game versus each other. So,
I also came across this random nugget that Arch Manning, he had that scramble ride, and that speed he was clocked at faster than Tyreek Hill has hit all season in the NFL. Doesn't seem believable. Noah Lyles. So maybe Arch Manning can beat Noah Lyles in a race.
I mean, Archie Manning was a scrambler. It makes sense that one of his sons had a little bit of wiggle.
It doesn't make sense that he's faster than Tyreek Hill.
No. Well, I don't believe that.
All right, I'm just telling you. Next Gen Stats had that.
That feels like a parody type. That's the kind of thing that we should.
I usually don't fall for fake news.
That feels like it could have been fake news.
Okay, it's
a Manning, and Tyreek Hill has had a long pass. Yeah, that doesn't seem real. All right, moving along. Now we're headed to the 125 window, aka one of these games will be America's game of the week. Not this one. Game 3 in the late window. Detroit, Arizona. This is an interesting spot for me, Sean, because I love the Cardinals, but I'm also pretty high on the Lions. Lions coming off a remember this loss. Dan Campbell, lots of coaching moments. Now they're laying 3 on the road, -146 on the money line. Arizona +124. 51.5 is the total.
Did you watch that video of Kyler Murray's social media is hilarious. He's riding like one of those big bikes with the high handlebars and the crazy
he's leaning
long mirrors, and he's just like riding through a neighborhood, a bicycle, and there's like his social dudes interviewing him. He's like, yeah, a lot of guys talking, I ain't listening, and we got to keep doing it. He's
new Russ.
He's millennial Russ. He's millennial Russ. He's got like the same talking points, but it's like from a young guy's point of view. I mean, this is interesting. This nugget was fun. Cardinals are home underdogs after scoring over 40 points in their previous games. Only 2 teams have closed as home dogs in September after scoring 40+ points the previous game since 2010. Dolphins versus Bills in 2022 and 2018 Bucks versus Eagles both won and covered in those spots. This is interesting because you have a hungry Lions team who feels like they're still a little banged up. And I'm worried that the Cardinals are going to be a public dog here, but there's a lot of spots where you like the Lions. You like the Lions off a loss in general. As much as I've given them shit, Jared Goff, pretty good ATS, especially in a dome. I do like the matchup for the Lions of Hutchinson against the Cardinals offensive line. If you watch that Bucks game, I think, Baker was the leading rusher for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think Kyler Murray could have himself a field day scrambling around.
We've talked about this before. Aaron Glenn does not defend mobile quarterbacks well. His defensive scheme is not good against mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I also think the secondary, this Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, Michael Wilson receiving core looks pretty solid. And I don't know. This is an interesting game to me. I think it definitely could end up being a shootout. Yeah. I believe Arizona can keep pace with Detroit. To me, this comes down to another question about is Detroit going to forget about the run game again?
Yeah. That was
weird
is now
because 2 games in a row they forgot about the run game.
Something they could do to attack.
It cost them a game. They almost cost themselves the game doing it against the Rams.
Yeah.
They actually cost themselves the game doing it against the Bucks. Maybe I don't know. Maybe their offensive coordinator not that sharp. He got baited into something. I don't understand what
Dan Campbell's apology was. I was like cracking up. He goes,
don't.
I had to just tell those guys that it was on me. That loss was on me. At the end of the half, where they forgot to, what was it? It was like too many men on the field. They didn't get the playoff. They're a little sloppy, man. They're a little. If there was an early team that was reading their own press clippings, and a little asleep behind the wheel, it might be this Lions team. I'm going to go Arizona. I'm a little worried the public dog has fleas here, though.
I kind of think the play is Detroit, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, we mentioned this on the recap show. There was a pretty hefty yard differential in that Detroit Tampa game, and I mentioned it at least as a reason maybe we might be looking to take Detroit and fading Tampa this week. Turns out I landed perfectly in that situation because I will take Detroit.
What's the money split?
50-50.
Yeah, all right. I'll take Arizona because I think if I had to pick a game where a field goal is going to matter, it's going to be this.
Well,
game.
and I'd also say that I like Arizona. But we saw Arizona in an optimal spot where their defense was getting home and they blew a team out that kind of packed it in early.
Yeah.
And there was a lot wrong with that Rams team. I think Detroit's in a completely different situation. They're not unless we see a Monra or something go down early into the game, I'll feel pretty good about this one. This Dan Campbell coming off a loss like that, I think you lay the points here.
I'll stick with Arizona.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that.
Well, I'm on Rob with the quad injury. Anzalone is a little banged up. Terrion Arnold. They're,
I like Arizona, but I do think Arizona is going to get destroyed by good offenses.
Could be. Hey, Ryan, while we're here, why don't we hop in the lab real quick? sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. I'm gonna borrow Spud's safety glasses. What's your NFL models say, Ryan?
Well, they probably. I mean, I will say in general, I did do some investigation of my models before. I saw someone earlier in the chat said, "Don't show those graphs to my models. They're very sexy."
I saw someone's. I mean, Rhythm had an awesome week last week.
Yeah,
dominated. They're all over the dogs.
In general, I would say my models seem to lean dog, but a part of what helped me maybe get the tiebreaker to the Lions. Both Bubba and Stacy like the Lions -3.
Right.
And to see an AI model like that, although I was handcrafted by me, to see the model be on a favorite, as Sean mentioned, pretty rare to see.
Yeah, I mean the model's smart. It's database. They know a good.
So just to be clear, though,
they will lean more towards dogs.
Sean, just to be clear, Bubba and Stacy love the Lions. Also, Pick Dundee likes the Lions.
Oh, that model.
All three models love the Lions.
My model, Ryan, and again, I was 50-50 Broncos Bucks, but Rhythm AI likes the Broncos +6.5. And the Sean SGPN NFL model likes it as well. And you can actually go in and you guys can copy each other's models. You can see the leaderboard, which model is doing the best. A lot of fun, and you get the 7-day free trial. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
By the way, Rhythm also loves Mr. Bo Nix to not throw a pick. Speaking of that Denver game we were talking about earlier. All right, let's get to the. I have to imagine, Sean, this will be the America's game of the week. We'll either get to listen to one of the big boys, although I don't think we've discussed Tom Brady yet on the show. Maybe we can.
Not good.
Yeah, it does seem like he's not really aware of what the job is. Yeah. And if you're Greg Olsen,
and boom goes the dynamite.
If you're Greg Olsen, how good do you feel? I mean, forget about the fact that you got put to the side. Just the fact that everyone is shitting on Brady. It feels good. All right.
Yeah, and yeah, he just seems like out of sorts. There's this weird clause because he's a part minority owner in the Raiders. He's not allowed to criticize teams. Like, I don't know, man. It just feels weird.
Find something else for him to do. He's not good at this job.
He feels like an alien. He's probably more of a studio guy.
Peyton Manning, light years ahead of Tom Brady in the content game. It's not. Even
my wife hates Tom Brady, or sorry, Peyton Manning. She's like, enough with him. He's everywhere.
But I mean, it's no contest with him and Tom
much
Brady.
Better, much
no contest. All right, let's get to that America's game of the week, maybe featuring America's team coming off a thumping, Sean, and we have a little bit of a problem here. Dallas underperformed the spread, and they are a close your eyes special. They're also.
I do remember this happening. Going, see, Ryan locks himself in the close your eyes special. I don't.
I go to the church. It's not something that you choose. It's a lifestyle. The look ahead to Thursday night is also there. Baltimore, of course, coming off that loss. Now Harbaugh coming off back-to-back losses. You don't have that too often.
No.
-1.5 on the road here against the very fragile Cowboys. Can't wait to be talking about Mike McCarthy, aka Humpty Dumpty, falling off the wall. Totals 48.5. Sean, this is a very delicate situation.
What do you mean?
Well,
we got a desperate Ravens team.
I do go to the church of the close your eyes special.
Well, I don't. I'm a C&E close your eyes special. I show up for major holidays, and when I decide to, and the close your eyes special, it's been great. And if you want to play it every time like Ryan, I believe in you. But I also have a system that trumps everything called Dallas sucks. But really, I love this spot for the Ravens. You want to talk about a team with the back against the wall that's going to come out hungry. You got to talk about this Baltimore Ravens team. Harbaugh, I think, is going to Harbaugh off a loss. Lamar Jackson off a loss. I know they lost that first game against the Chiefs, but I would be pretty surprised if a team like the Ravens lose 3 in a row. I mean, Lamar Jackson was MVP last year. I guess I'd be pretty shocked if he went 0-3. He is tied for 11 total bad throws with Bryce Young. So unfortunate for Lamar, Bryce Young no longer starting. So maybe he runs away with it, but he's been great as a favorite of 3 points or less or an underdog. Like that's the spot to take Lamar, not as a big favorite, as we were reminded last week against the Raiders. I am worried about Justin Tucker, who now sucks. Again, I think it's funny, but he's cost me a bunch of money. He's 1-7 in his last 8 field goals of 50+. What I will say, Ryan, is this Cowboys defense might not be good, and I think that is huge. I think this is
pass rush could look good against that Baltimore offensive line. We were on that early that they might not be very good.
I mean, you know, the Saints offensive line seemed to do a decent job of Micah Parsons.
Yeah, that offensive line has a plan.
CeeDee Lamb didn't practice today. He's got an ankle injury.
He's holding out again.
Yeah, maybe. This is, you want to talk about vibes. This is all-time bad vibes, all-time back against the wall for the Baltimore Ravens. Smash spot for the Ravens.
Well, Sean, I actually see in a faraway place we have a Dallas -1.
What?
Which makes them not the close your eyes special anymore. Easy peasy. I guess I'm on Baltimore. I do. Golly.
Watch your language, right?
Can't not take the close your eyes special. Hopefully I don't get punished for my sins. Can't take the Cowboys. That's a bigger sin. All right. Last one. And I think this game, honestly, it probably looked a little bit better a couple of weeks ago, but now the Rams a bit banged up, a wounded animal. And now the Niners back-to-back road spot coming off a loss in Minnesota. They're laying 7.5. You know what that number is telling you to do. The look ahead had them only at 4.5. Cooper Kupp worth 3 points on the number, Sean? I don't think so.
No.
-375 on the money line. Rams +300. 44.5 is the total. 0-2 team. 0-2 team against the spread, and they underperformed against the Cardinals big time. Another close your eyes special. Pretty rare to have 3 in a week. I mean, this is a trend that produces like 15 to 20 spots a year.
Yes.
So, you know, probably good that we're dodging one of them with the Cowboys. This is an obvious spot. I mean, Shanahan does own McVay.
Yep.
But the 7.5 points are silly. And I think the Rams are going to do everything they can to run the ball, run the clock, shorten this game. Yeah. You see the total at 44.5, not a totals guy, but that feels high. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I have to take the points. I'm on the close your eyes special. And you know, in general, I've learned to enjoy fading the 49ers with you.
Yeah, it's fun.
These 49er fans on social media are
Niners,
the fucking worst.
Real
and quick. As friend of the program, Katie Mox pointed out earlier today, Jimmy G will be running scout team as Brock Purdy this week. That's electric. I like that.
Jimmy G revenge game.
This is why McVay brought Jimmy G on the team for this game, for this moment. You got to take the 7.5, right, Sean?
Oh yeah, like the Rams a lot in this spot, and you didn't mention they get their left tackle Alric Jackson back from suspension.
Should be good.
That is massive, and they also get Jimmy G back from suspension. Who I feel like no one talked about the fact he was. Now maybe he just had low T and wanted more. A little extends opportunity in the bedroom. He does have that lifetime membership to the Hustler Club out in Las Vegas. I wonder if when you're no longer the quarterback of the Raiders, they take that away. But Deebo Samuel doesn't look like he's going to play, or is he? Where's he at, Ryan? Is he officially out?
I
don't think he
DNP,
practiced. Yeah,
and it sounds like he's not going to. Again, like there were some injuries that happened on Sunday that kind of just slid through.
Yeah, CMC is out. He's going to be out for a while. No one saw that coming. But Ryan, and I didn't mention it with the Broncos. Should have brought it up there, but winless teams catching 3.5 points or more, 64.3% ATS since 2010. This is a division game. This is a get up spot game. This is throw everything at the wall game. This is kind of the Rams season, if we're being honest. And again, I think the 49ers are still feeling a little bit of that hangover. Now, Bosa's not on the injury report, but something clearly happened to him. And I think if anyone can do a job,
can't believe that Niners injury report at this time.
No, and if anyone can get some stuff out of these receivers, these no-name receivers, Jordan Whittingham, came in with some steam. I think it might be Sean McVay. So 7.5 as a home division dog is crazy. So all over the Rams.
Just quick clarification. Jimmy G claims he just messed up a form, and that it was a therapeutic use exemption.
Okay.
So whatever that means, Jimmy.
Oh, and Terrell bringing up another great point. Make sure you check out Terrell, WNBA Gambling Podcast, NBA Gambling Podcast. This game last year, because I remember I was also on the Rams, as I always am. And McVay, they were down 10, and they kicked the field goal to backdoor it. Genius. It was like 7.5 or 8 points. So I could see an exact scenario like that. Run it back. Let's go, baby.
Yes, sir. I'm sure we're going to hear people say they like San Francisco as a teaser leg this week, Sean.
Stephen Cunningham in the chat saying the beer been empty, Sean. The beer's not empty. There are a couple swigs left
Jesus
in. I'm steering a podcast over here.
You want to get in their face?
I'm steering a podcast over here. Look, tell me if there's not beer in this.
Oh wow, he showed you.
Let's go. Now there's no beer left.
Fucking losers. You see that? I mean, you know what? That's what Patty C does every week when he's sitting over there. It's good to see you finally catch up.
Shout out to Trevor at the gym. His headphones died. Now the people next to me are getting to hear your guys' picks. LOL. Shout out to Trevor's gym. So we're both on the Rams. Let's go.
I think that is the appropriate thing to do.
Okay.
And last thing I wanted to say one more thing. To your point about season on the brink. I mean, we talked about this. Feels like the last two preseason, how fragile this Rams team could be.
Yeah.
If this goes bad, Sean, might be the end for our friend Sean McVay.
Well, but also they have peaked late. Cooper Kupp didn't get put on the injury list. Maybe there's some hope for him.
Yeah. But a lot of the other teams in the division look pretty good. So.
Yeah, it's 2 games though. It's the NFL.
Yeah,
Long
right.
season, right?
You're right.
17 games.
And by the way, that 0-2,
your Giants are only 1 game back.
That 0-2 trend you brought up applies to the Giants. You didn't seem to want to use it for that game though.
No, no,
not good for all. Not good for all games.
Should I switch to the Giants?
No, I mean you should. I mean probably.
I picked the Giants both times.
You don't want to lay 6.5.
I'll see if Terrell tells me to take I'll leave it up to Terrell for my.
It's
pick.
a bad matchup for the quarterback versus the defense. All right, Sunday night football, Sean, because of course we have a double header on Monday night. Sunday night football, we got the Falcons coming off a big win against the Eagles. They're taking on the Chiefs. Chiefs here laying 3.5 on the road, -172 on the money line. Falcons +144, short week. 46.5 is the total. 76% of the bets on the Chiefs, laying the 3.5 here. We were told and taught that you take the 3.5 or you lay the 3.5. You don't take it. To me, what I saw on against that Falcons Eagles game was basically the Eagles letting the Falcons do shit they should have obviously known was coming based on the offense. I don't think it's going to be the same thing against Spags, and I can't believe that this team is going to be good enough to exploit that defense. I also do not believe that the Chiefs are going to change as a team just because Isaiah Pacheco got hurt. Yeah. I think you're going to see the same type of stuff from Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice. I think you're going to see Worthy still be a fun speed gadget deep threat. And I think they're going to run the ball.
Carson Steele.
I think they're going to put tight ends on the field. They're going to run weird formations, and we're going to get a sick ass fucking Carson Steele highlight.
Yeah.
Bottom line, Falcons suck. I'm very disappointed. The Eagles gifted them a win. Hurts my plus 15,000 Falcons most losses. This is not a team that solved something. For some reason, they let Kirk Cousins stand on his spot. This Chiefs pass for Chris Jones right up the middle is going to cause problems for Mr. Kirk Cousins. And I'm obviously not. I'm out on this Falcons team. Hard out.
The only way you would take the Atlanta is like maybe, hey, it's a non-conference road favorite spot for the Chiefs.
That's a good point.
But Atlanta's on a short week. And Atlanta, Kirk Cousins off a loss is off a win. Never
in prime time.
Never
and now another prime time game.
Yeah, another Sunday night game.
He's won 4 of the last 5 prime time games, Sean.
Yeah, he's awesome. No, I'm not gonna have money against our boy Carson Steele. Anyone who comes on this show, I'm automatically going to back. But I do think the matchups are there. And if it was a potential letdown spot, non-conference road game, if this was a 10 a.m. kick and you're getting 4.5. You might be able to talk me into a sleepy Chiefs team coming off a big win against the Bengals. But this Chiefs team, we said it preseason, they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder. I think you throw in the fact that it's Sunday night football, they're not going to fall asleep. They're not. No. And they have a day rest advantage. I mean, all you need to say is Andy Reid versus Raheem Morris. If you want to bet on Raheem Morris, God bless you. I want no part of that.
Yeah. Put Spags in that equation too. I also think if you look at the numbers, teams have had success running the ball against this Falcons defense. What do you, again, just because Isaiah Pacheco, former 7th round pick, is no longer there, Andy Reid's not going to run the ball down their throat. He'll probably forget from time to time.
Yeah.
But the teams that have played the Falcons have shown them the blueprint. Run the ball at this team. Shorten the game, run the ball, and on the other side of the ball, just beat their offensive line. It's very beatable. This feels like a game we're going to look back and either the Falcons somehow pull some bullshit out of their hat or it's a blowout. Because I think this is going to, again, Carson Steele fucking sick ass highlight loading. What is going to be our official Carson Steele prop for tomorrow?
2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. Yeah. That's
I would Dan 17 saying the Falcons have no linebackers. Yeah, you're gonna bring a physical hammer known as Carson Steele.
They don't have defensive backs. It's going to be an interesting matchup for them. And yeah, you lay the 3.5.
And I know that Kareem Hunt currently is on the practice squad. I think it's going to be a pretty good. Now Kareem Hunt, they'll probably elevate. They also Keontae Ingram's technically on the active roster. If I had to guess, it's going to be a split between P. Ryan and Carson Steele. But Carson Steele, they trust in pass protection. They trust inside the 5. And even though he had that fumble, they gave him the ball on a 4th down after it. Andy Reid knows Carson Steele's a fucking ball player. He is going to get his touches. It might not be volume, but he's going to get touches in big spots. So I'm not fading him or the Chiefs.
Going back to the
Cracky J, baby,
the opening game where we saw these packages for Carson Steele on the media. He's also, like, in fairness, he is listed as the starter. So
yeah,
let's go Carson.
And why do they keep calling him a fullback?
Because he's a white guy. This is one of those.
He's a white guy with long hair, and it's fun.
Just get a neck roll, bro. It will help you fit in. All right, we got the Monday night doubleheader, Sean. The first one starts at 4:30 p.m. on.
Dude, this is hilarious. Sorry.
What happened?
Carson Steele is plus 110 to score a touchdown. 2 touchdowns is only 750.
Oh no.
I mean, come on.
He's getting respect, dude.
It's awesome. And
he's
shout out to
respect.
him. It's just crazy. It's Bijan Robinson, then our boy Carson Steele, then Kelsey for the touchdown.
Screenshot that and just put it out and say proud dad moment.
Yeah.
All right. First of the doubleheaders, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars, Buffalo Bills, 4:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Bills with a nice little mini bye here, laying 4.5, minus 240 on the money line. Jags plus 198, 45.5 is the total. Bills are the public side, Sean. 76% of the bets coming in on Buffalo. It's pushed this number out. The look ahead 3.5. Out to 4. We're picking it at 4.5. I know there are some 5s out there in the mysterious zone where Vegas has no idea what to do. The Jags have played in 2 very interesting games where you could argue they should have won and covered both of them, or they could have lost and not covered.
I would argue
either.
they should have won because we had them in Survivor, right?
You look at the box. You look at a lot. You look at the Jags Browns games through a lot of lenses, and you probably are wondering how the Jags didn't do better.
Yeah.
And you could probably say a similar thing about that first game. Honestly, ETN doesn't fumble; they cover against Miami.
No, they did. Cover
they
against
win.
Miami.
They win against Miami, and so I don't know what to think about this game other than Buffalo looking like roses coming off that Thursday night game. I know they're probably going to be leaning a little bit more on the pass game in this one against that Jags defense. It seems to be the way to attack them. Even Deshaun Watson had a little bit of success through the air.
Matt Collins
against that secondary. So yeah, I mean, as far as first touchdowns, yeah, obviously I'll be looking at the 3rd, 4th receiver angle, maybe.
Yeah. Well, this is, I mean,
I don't have I don't really have a strong opinion on this game other than Josh Allen has randomly been mediocre against the Jags. He's turned the ball over in every game he's played against the Jags. He's 1-2 against the Jags. Yeah, 2 interceptions and a fumble lost.
It does feel like the Jags are gonna have something up their sleeve, keep this game closer than it should be, and it's weird though.
I don't know.
This it's a unique rest spot off a Thursday night game with Monday coming up. Since 2015, that has only happened twice in the first 3 weeks of the regular season, both double-digit wins for the team with that rest disparity. And this Jags team, man, it's tough to get behind.
Well, I think it's one of these things where you look at the way that the Bills have played defense in the first 2 games, and I have more confidence that McDermott's going to have a plan to throttle the deep passing attack of Trevor Lawrence and going to cause a couple mistakes. And I guess you have to believe that Jacksonville can run the ball against Buffalo. Do you think Jacksonville can do better than Arizona against Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Avetta in the chat saying, don't overthink it. Bills by 10. I'm not a cute handicapper. I got to stick with the Bills here, man. They look awesome. So I'll go Buffalo minus 4.5.
Yeah.
Even though dogs have been good on Monday night. The rest disparity angle, as weird as that is, I think is gonna matter. This team's gonna be fresh.
Jags are not trustworthy in my mind, and they were they were both close to winning the game last week, and also just comically nowhere near winning the game, and so just not trustworthy. And this Buffalo team seems to have a plan, and if they're going to be able to be a physical team and punch Jacksonville in the math a little bit and get a little play action going, yeah, I think this could be a blowout. That's why they put it as the early game, Sean, the 4:30 kick. But the second game starts in the middle of this game. Why do they? I mean, I get it. I'd almost rather just have 2 back-to-back games. I don't know. We have multiple TVs, obviously. Won't be a problem. I'm sure we'll have eyes on the Washington Commanders as they, which by the way, if you didn't see, they opened up an exhibit with a bunch of Redskins stuff. So does seem like we are on a path to maybe them being called the Redskins once again. Bengals laying 7.5 here in the 5:15 window on Monday night, -405 on the money line. Washington +320, 46.5 is the total. Sean, we watched basically the worst possible game plan against Jaden Daniels last week by the Giants, and they gave him a cushion, and they kind of let everything happen underneath him, and then they made tackles. It's exactly what Cincy does on defense. I have not seen Cincy. I don't care what happened in that game last week against the Chiefs. To me, that was more of the Chiefs making a muck of things than the Bengals being back on it. I still think they have the same problems. I still think that defense is gonna allow teams to be in games. I don't think the Bengals are a team we're gonna want to lay big numbers with. And I also kind of have like this would be the game that Burrow lights it up.
Yes, 100%. I got a text from our buddy Justin Wood, Bengals super fan, out of nowhere, just saying, "Hey, bud, Joey B has never lost a week 3 game or a primetime game against anyone from outside the AFC North. I don't know if your wife would be pissed, but you might want to pawn all of her jewelry and maybe your grandma's too, and bet the house on Joey B over on everything." Now, Justin,
maybe,
check him out if you're a Bengals fan, Justin in the jungle. But much like Sean Payton struggles for the first 2 weeks, the Cincinnati Bengals struggle for the first 2 weeks. How does Joe Burrow have such a good ATS and straight up record? And you look at the 1-9 in the first 2 weeks. I don't know what it is. They turn it on in week 3. Joe Burrow, great off a loss, 15-6-1 ATS after a straight up loss, including 10-2-1 ATS in September, October. We saw it last week against the Chiefs. Probably should have won outright. Burrow's career also, anytime he's had a 2 or more game losing streak, 6-0-1 ATS. I think this Bengals team is going to light up the Commanders defense. That Commanders defense secondary is horrible, Ryan. Horrible.
Yeah, I agree. I just think Washington's going to be a team that's entering the back door a lot.
Okay.
Because Jaden Daniels is he's going to, again, we saw them, they kicked 7 field goals because they could drive down the field, but they couldn't score a touchdown.
Well, the counter would be they didn't score a touchdown against the Giants at home.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's going to work against the Bengals.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why you'd want to lay the number here. I think it's a big number. I think Washington's going to be a team we're going to be taking big numbers with all year, and they're going to be backdooring bullshit. I think I called this recently with the Falcons. Not quite a backdoor, but similar idea. I think Cincy's defense is being left out of the handicap.
I thought Cincy's defense played well against the Bengals or against the Chiefs on the road.
That's the one team that they have played well against.
Well, they've played 2 teams.
No, I'm just saying in general they've played well against the Chiefs.
Yeah,
it was something I ignored in my handicap last week.
They haven't. Are you touting your handicap?
No, I'm saying I ignored that.
Oh, you
and I was wrong.
Okay.
With the Chiefs game, and I'm saying that
they do have the Chiefs number defensively. I agree.
The idea that they go back looking to like a team that's going to sit back and play the typical scheme they do, it could look very much like the Giants game from last week.
I'm just extremely confident he's not going to lose, and I think
maybe he wins by a touchdown, but I'll take the points.
It's too close for me.
Yeah.
This is. I think
love it in a teaser.
They win by 10 minimum.
You love it in a teaser.
Oh yeah, but you don't need to tease this. It's the Bengals.
But a single leg teaser.
I don't give those out, Ryan. You know how I feel about that.
Love the Bengals. All right.
Time for the Lock Dog and Tease. Hey, also quick reminder: smash that subscribe button. We were doing a nice job charting over on Spotify. So even if you're a YouTube and Apple Podcast person, check over on Spotify. Toss us 5 stars over there. We're up to 41.
Do your part.
Couple nerd shows above us.
Really?
We are putting some shows in a locker. Some NFL Live, one of the fantasy footballer side shows.
Losers.
But we can. I know. We got top 25 sports shows. I mean, if we get top 20 sports in Spotify, it's time to fire up the prize wheel. I'm just putting that out there for the audience. But yeah, toss us 5 stars. Literally takes 2 seconds. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And time for the Lock, Dog, and Tease. Ryan, what do you got? Do I go first to
Yeah, you should
reset
go
the
first.
mojo.
We have to reset mojo.
Okay. For me, it's easy. And he's not going to be around. But if you're in Anchorage, Alaska, please hit us up. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers laying 1.5. Home opener. Tomlin as a small favorite. Great spot. Great spot. That one was easy. Next one.
I don't hate that.
Next lock.
See, it's hard to go first.
No, it's not. I'm debating a couple. You know what? Yeah. They're 0-2. They're going to get off the schneid. Give me the Indianapolis Colts at home against the Chicago Bears.
All right.
For my dog.
Okay.
Like the Panthers, like the Dolphins, like the Cardinals, like the Broncos, like the Eagles. Which one's the money line dog? And I am a little favorite heavy. I think we balance things out here as far as the dog splits. I think there's some overreactions.
Yeah, you went all favorites. That's your overreaction.
No, not all favorites, but a decent number.
Lots of them.
Oh man, and I do like the Rams plus 7.5. Is that crazy to put that in the lock instead of the Colts? No, I'll keep it Colts minus 1.5. Oh man.
Wow. Give
me Los Angeles Rams on the money line. I had good luck with the 3-1 money line dog, and I'm running it back. Give me the Rams. For my tees, I will put. Oh man,
a lot of numbers to deal right now.
Cincinnati minus 1.5, and you have Cincinnati at the bottom on our sheet, Ryan. We generally do that for the home team, right?
Yes. Did I?
Yeah, I think you got it backwards.
My bad.
That's a good spot for them. I will also take. I mean, there's some reverse tease action. Can you put Deshaun Watson in the teaser?
I'm confused at what you're telling me. You're saying since he's not at home?
I'm pretty sure it's
since he's at home.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Oh, you're right. Damn it. I mean, I like that even more then. You're crazy. Wow.
Wait, you thought they were on the road?
Yeah, the entire time. I mean, I even love it more.
Play the alt number.
Yeah. Oh,
you must love it in a tease.
I do. And I already got them in a tease. Do I put the Browns in a tease? Deshaun Watson in a tease? Is that scary?
That's so dumb.
Don't need to do it.
Think about what you're saying. Do you want to tease Deshaun Watson? No.
I'll do Arizona up to 9. And then that feels pretty good. And then I'll go Miami plus 10.5. They're going to make that a game. It's a close your eyes special. Get a little padding just in case. Kramer, what do you got?
Ooh.
I can't believe Cincinnati's at home.
Finally, do you want to put Cincinnati in a lock column since your model is like 6 points off market?
I usually trust my instincts. I'll stick with the Colts here.
Yeah.
Yep. 0-2 team against a 1-1 team. Although that actually applies to Cincinnati as well.
Final answer.
Yeah.
All right. Lock number 1. I really like this Miami spot.
Okay.
Give me the
close
4.5.
your eyes special.
It's a close your eyes special. I like the idea that this is going to turn into a sneaky shootout, and I like getting 4.5 points. I'm going to run back to the window with Kansas City after all the disrespect I've heard placed on Carson Steele's name.
Wow.
I think they go. I mean, what have we seen from Atlanta that we're impressed by?
Yeah.
I'm not impressed. I think major step up in class. The only angle would be non-conference road game for the Chiefs, and they have the Chargers on deck. But I have a feeling prime time, like you said, keeps the mind focused. You took a fun dog with the Rams plus the 7.5. I'm going to go a little smaller than that, Sean.
Yes.
But this Minnesota Vikings team, wrong team favorite. They look like one of the best teams in the NFL. Give me the short money line price.
It's a bad. I mean, I hope you hit it, Ryan, for your own sake.
And for the tees,
114 on the money line.
Yep. It's a nice juicy plus 114. And for the tees, I was close to putting Detroit in the old lock bucket, but I did not. Let's tease so many gross numbers this week. We're gonna and I wouldn't dare tease around 0, even though I've been horrible with the tease. But we are gonna take my. I don't want to do any of these teases. All right, we're there. It's just a lot of really gross numbers. Where I'm probably better off doing the money line. We're gonna tease the Rams up to 13.5. We're gonna tease the Raiders down to +0.5. Cover myself for the tie. And then we're going to take the Denver Broncos out to 13.5.
12.5.
12.5. Yes.
Wow. That is a tease, Ryan. You got Bo Nix in a tease.
Yeah. We had to get a little weird. We had to get weird. The
all right,
normal numbers aren't doing well.
Circa million seems pretty simple. Dolphins +4.5, KC -3.5.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh -1.5.
Yeah.
Indy -1.5. And then you like the Rams. Do you want to do Rams and the points?
Rams, Titans, Baltimore.
I already have Baltimore in there.
No, you don't.
Oh, I went Indy. That's right. Yeah, I could do Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore was one of the teams I was going to lock, but also Rams.
Yeah. I mean, Rams, Bills, Baltimore, and Tennessee, all, even Denver.
Let's go Rams. It's close your eyes special. Yeah.
Okay.
It's close your eyes special. They're a division dog. Love that spot. So Circa millions, Miami +4.5, KC -3.5, Pittsburgh -1.5, Indy -1.5, Rams +7.5.
This is a diverse card. I like that. Diverse.
Nice little balance. And of course, thank you as always for tuning in. We got the prop show tomorrow, VSiN show Friday night, pregame show. Ryan has the sound figured out, so we'll be taking your calls. 9 a.m. It was Discord's fault. 9 a.m. Pacific, and youtube.com/sportsgambling podcast. Get in on Discord so we can take your calls live on the air. Count you down to kickoff. I'm Jack, baby. Let's go. Go Birds.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Week 3 is already here, Sean
Kramer. Let it ride.